So we just brought the 750 out of the shop, and I was just going over fluids and whatnot, and noticed the temperature was a little warm. It's probably come down by now. We were up close to the red there. And that shouldn't be right, being it's got a new water pump. So I took the cap off, and you know, instead of making one of them viral videos where things blow up, I was smart about it, put a rag on it, whatever, stood back, and a geyser of just murky mud water, not oil mixed, just junk water and like random stuff come out. So yeah, that's fun. But another thing that I noticed is give it some throttle. Yeah, I think that radiator is clogged up. I'm wondering if while the water pump was off, some of our furry little friends got in there and decided to build a home. And I would have never checked it, you know. I looked in there and there's water in there, and yeah, I didn't put the pump back on. I'm not saying that the guy who did put the pump back on is at fault, but now we got a problem. It does not look fun to get that radiator out of there. But the good thing is, I believe it's the type where you can take the cap off the top and the bottom. So I don't think it'll be too terrible to pull that off. But anyway, I've got some other things to work on, so this is going to get pushed aside for now. Well, it didn't fix itself. Temperatures finally come up, and I think it's time to dig into why this thing overheats. Well, I know why, it's just we got to fix it. So we're going to start by taking these 4 bolts off to remove this front cap. That'll give us access to the top of the radiator. I say 4, there's 2 on each side, but we'll start there. I have a feeling this is heavy. Oh yeah. Okay, now this should just... Why is this thing so heavy? I guess it does tie the hard nose together. Charlie, what are you doing? Oh. There. Okay, after doing some head scratching and thorough investigation, I've determined that we're probably going to just take this radiator out. Mainly because it doesn't seem that difficult to take the fan strap bolts out. And I believe, let me see if I can get there. I believe you separate this line of bolts here that holds the hydraulic cooler to the radiator. Upper hose obviously are already off. I'm going to take the lower hose off, take the grill out for a little bit easier access. I think that's the plan at this point. I can't really see a better way to do it because the problem is there's these 2 bolts here that I can't get to. So in case I didn't explain what the problem is, the water pump was off this machine for a long time, and the upper radiator hose was off. Our furry little friends went up the top of the radiator and made a home inside there. I didn't think much of it. I didn't see it. I filled up with water, and well, now it's sucked down tight to the cores of the radiator, and like a solid mat. You can kind of see some of what we're dealing with there. So I think we can just, I want to just pull the top tank of the radiator off. I feel like these 2 bolts here are going to give us trouble. But I think somebody's done this before, because this is bent up. And there's also copper anti-seize on those 4 bolts that we took out to move this top. Copper anti-seize is something my dad would have been in there with. But I don't know about this. I don't know if he had this off or not. I think we're going to try and just zip these bolts out and see what happens. Because if we can just remove the top of this, it'll be a whole lot less work than taking everything else out. Honestly, the fan shroud is one of the things I'm concerned with. I don't know how those bolts are going to react. So, let's try to zip these bolts off. Oh, they're just spinning, so that's no luck. No luck there. Yep. Wasn't very fun, I'll tell you that much. So I made a discovery. Apparently you can get a wrench in like this. I think we'll be able to get this apart without splitting the 2. Fan shroud had to come off regardless because it was just going to be too tight to do it. But yeah, so let's give that a rip. Look at that. Okay. I gotta go get a magnetic bowl to hold all them. Get the rest of these ripped out. Well, all the bolts are out. Let's see. You think it's gonna come out nicely? We're gonna need a hammer. Oh yeah. I think we need a hammer. Oh boy. Okay, stand by. Oh boy, that is tight. Okay, interesting fact. The tanks don't come apart from the core. Guess we're taking the whole radiator out, trying to clean that stuff out. But man, I don't know how we're ever going to do it. Oh, that one's got an adapter on, I think. Brass fitting. What the heck? Either way, it's junk. So yeah, we're gonna do something about that. Okay, so these 3 bolts hold the bottom of the radiator into the machine. So let's pop them off, hopefully. Somebody's been here before. How much of a mess are we gonna make here? Oh boy. Oh, jeez. This is gonna be a big time mess. Didn't make too big of a mess. So, coolant drained, bottom bolts out, side bolts out. That just leaves, I believe, 1 bolt. This one here. That's all we got left to pull that out of there. However, I did just notice another issue. I wonder if I can bypass that somehow. That was quite the fight. This tube is threaded in there. It's full of all sorts of rust and junk. So I had to drill a hole in there, get the oxyacetylene torch in there to heat this threaded piece up so I could unthread the bolt that holds this side on. I thought that one was going to be a struggle. That one was easy. So now let's get this limerizer off. I feel like this thing's going to be pretty heavy. How can we do this without falling? Nope. Okay, actually it wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be. Well, it's free. It's time to get it out of there. But it's almost 6 o'clock and we're running out of daylight, so this might be a project for tomorrow. Well, as you can see here, we got our portable overhead crane. One of the reasons, besides it being nice out, that we're working outside. Alright, we're all hooked up. It's going to take a while, but we're going to get her out of there. So this is probably going to be a time lapse for you guys, because this chain puller does not move very quick. Well, she's out. That's kind of gross. That's not mouse house remnants, that's just stuff. Yeah. Good thing is you can kind of see through the radiator. I don't know if you guys are peeking. Yeah, you can kind of see some light through there. The cores are all like kind of bent up like that. I don't know if I did that trying to separate it. But we'll get her down on the ground, we'll get her flushed out, and we'll see. A new radiator for this thing is like $4 grand. I only paid $7,500 for the whole dozer, so I don't know. We're gonna hopefully fix this one, and hopefully the furry little friends didn't totally corrupt our dozer. Guess let's see what kind of goo we can blast out of here. Oh, the water's coming out clearer now. Alright, got this thing flipped over. See if we can't flush some of the junk out here. I was really hoping to get this tank off, but I think this is going to be the best we're going to be able to do. Okay, we're getting somewhere now. Oh yeah. Seemed to do something. So I built a thing. Be able to pressurize the lower end of the coolant hose pressure. I was using an air hose to blast down. That was working pretty good. I think we're on the downhill slope here. Got quite a bit of this junk pushed out. As you can see, it's all over here. So I'm just gonna let this run and just flush it out for, I don't know, 10-15 minutes. So I was just holding my hand over here. I was realizing that we're getting water coming out of the side here. This tank does separate from the core. Well, I guess it's not terrible to pull the whole thing out and flush it this way. But I'm going to try and get that separated now, because now that I know that comes apart, I can kind of see the separation there. I was kind of suspicious that that didn't come apart, because those tanks are John Deere tanks, and the radiator core was probably made by somebody else. So the fact that I couldn't get that apart in the machine and thinking it wasn't going to come apart even though it's got all them bolts, that'll make me feel better. We'll be able to see what's actually going on up there and see how good of a job this actually did. I don't think we did too bad, but there's still a lot of junk in there yet. So the cores seem to be okay, but man, look at the pile of crud that came out of there. I kind of glad we took the radiator out, but at the same point, I feel kind of dumb for not really digging into that a little bit better. But we'll get this all cleaned up. That looks like a bunch of like crud, like just like corrosion. But we'll get her cleaned up. Give you an idea what we got going on right here. Move you closer. So this is your radiator core, and all these little holes here are what the coolant would pass through from the bottom to the top. So I'm just going through with a piece of fence wire here, kind of just cleaning these out. I don't know if it shows up on camera, but there's kind of a dividing line. Like this section here is really corroded, I'm assuming from all the mouse whiz and, you know, mouse house things. Whereas this side over here is a little more cleaner. But I went through with a screwdriver, kind of cleaned out the tips, and it doesn't seem like they're really that bad. But just running through here and running this back and forth a little bit, you're able to kind of open it up a little bit. Alright, check this out. I think we got some good flow going through there now. Granted, I can only fill up half the radiator at a time because, you know, gravity's a thing. And the fill port's about here on the other side. But seems like we got pretty good flow going through them tubes now. That took a long time to poke all them tubes free. I wire wheeled this lightly too. I think it's going to be pretty much ready to slam back together. Well, we did a pretty good job flushing it out before taking this tank off. All of this stuff that is chiseled out of there, that's a big glob of junk that originally was stuck in there. And when this thing actually overheated and I took the radiator cap off, I don't remember if I have footage of that or not, but a glob about that big and then a bunch of more junk come out of there. But as you've seen, I'm pretty confident now that we got that core real clean. Got everything dried off. I hit it with a torch, broke all the crusty junk off, have everything lined up. I put a thin layer of RTV on this thing, just kind of take up any defects. This piece here come out of here, RTV that back in as well. We're going to slam her back together. Alright, tank's on. Got RTV in between, plus the gaskets. I just snugged this all down. It's not all torqued down because I want to let that RTV set up before I really clamp it in there. So I think we should be good on this side. Well, Spent a little bit, torqued down all them bolts. And we're ready to get our makeshift crane and set her back in there. Maybe we should try and take that hose off and clean that out first. Looks like there's a bunch of goo in there. And maybe we'll scrape all this junk out too. Ew. Yeah, there's not a whole lot in there, but I don't want it there, so. Got sidetracked and realized that I wanted to make this. What's going on here? I just had this freed up. Uh-oh. Well, guess we got a problem, because that did work. Okay, I may have gotten a little wild with the tightening that down, but I want to make sure that we could open this drain valve for the radiator. So, got that all fixed up. So that way we can drain the coolant out of here. When we run it through, it's just drain the water out of here when we run it and get it hot, and hopefully flush some stuff out of the system. Ultimately, we'll probably just drop the lower radiator hose, but it'd be nice to have this option too. Okay, I've got this to a point where everything is secure. Radiator is fully attached. Lower fan shroud is together. Lower radiator hose is on. The upper hose I have loose because I want to fill the radiator up with water now. And then when I start it, I want to take this off because I don't know if any junk got in there. I don't want to blow junk into there. I could put a sock over that. That does work. So maybe we'll do that. But guess it's time to start filling this thing up. So the hose is nice and clear. This is bubbling because obviously we're pushing air out of the lower system through the block. But yeah, I think we're gonna leave that hose off. I mean, we're gonna put the hose back on here, but don't see anything that's really scary in there. Like there's no like full nest or anything. And the coolant's kind of nasty looking, but we'll flush that out. But I was just making sure we didn't have a big mouse house in there too. So we'll just bubble the coolant out that way. The radiator level should be higher than that. Now we got this hose up here. Should be able to fill it all up. And that way if anything bad is in there, it'll come bubbling up the top. Start filling it from here now. Put our cap on. But I guess we gotta tighten that clamp if we want it to hold water. Just can't win with this thing. There's one of these tubes is leaking. Oh, it just stopped. One of these tubes is leaking there. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I decided that I've come this far that I may as well just pull it back out and solder it correctly. So here we are. So check out this little pinhole. I don't know if you can see it. It's like right on that center fin. It's right at the end of my finger there. You can hardly even see it. That's where our leak is. Ain't pretty, but we got some solder on there. And we made one heck of a test rig there. That side capped off. Apply some air pressure and look for bubbles with some soap and water. Wish me luck. Okay. Good news is the one we repaired doesn't leak. Bad news is I think every other one does. Come on. This is ridiculous. Alright, I got it down to just a couple little bubbles. And we cleaned it all up, put some JB Weld on it. It ain't pretty, but I don't really know how crucial little air bubbles are in a radiator. I know you're supposed to hold pressure, but the way we got this cap set up, which is a trick if you got some older machines, cut a little V-notch in there and it'll keep it from building a whole bunch of pressure. It's a good thing to do on older machines with old radiators because clearly they get weak. But yeah, so we got JB Weld in there. Try seal up any of that. Like I said, we got the pinhole. That was the big leak. Those might not have actually been a big issue, but if I saw bubbles there, I wanted to fix it. So we got JB Weld on it. I think I'm going to try and throw this back in the machine, and probably be about it for today. Alright, well, it's next morning here. And our JB Weld is set up. And I think we're ready to fill this up with water again. So let's hope it doesn't leak this time. Well, it's full to the top. That water there was from the frost. And it doesn't look too bad. It looks like we've got one little spot right here. But I think we're going to be okay. I think we're just going to run it. And we'll have to keep an eye out for a radiator, I guess, one day. But for now, I think it'll be runnable. We'll just keep an eye on the coolant. Try to keep some of the sound up above us. Oh, that's no good. It just drives me nuts. Like, the thing didn't leak before, but it's what it is. I guess we gotta figure out how we're gonna fix that. I don't know if I can. Might just be a replacement case here. So this thing kind of turned into a bit of a boat anchor. Apparently these radiators are next to impossible to find used. I found two of them, and after getting both of them pressure tested, fortunately before I bought them, both of them were no good. I was worried that we were going to have to cut the old girl up and scrap her, but our friends over at Radiator Supply House actually came through and they hooked us up with this new ICEBOX radiator. I only popped the top open. I didn't even take it out yet. Gotta watch out for these copper staples, they'll get you. But There's a radiator in there. Look at that. Nice and shiny. All aluminum. This should keep the old girl cool. Look at that. We got ICEBOX and the fins and the radiator. Okay, let me get this thing out of the box, and I guess we should probably get the old one out of the machine first and catch our packaging. We got the bigger crane today. Not that the little Volvo Mini couldn't do it, it's just that's loaded up for a job and this one's free, so we also got a little bit more boom with this. Alright, so before we go and yank this old radiator out, I want to take a moment to talk about Radiator Supply House. So, I was searching for a long time. I checked a bunch of used heavy equipment parts yards, a couple ones I've used before. I found two. Both of them, when they went to pressure test the radiator, after they took all the time, which you've seen, to pull the radiator, they went and pressure tested them. Both of them failed pressure test. So, then I kind of went into a panic because I could not find a radiator for this machine. So I decided, well, let's reach out to Radiator Supply House. A couple of my buddies have used them, and let's see if they're able to help us with this. They are the only ones I found online, or anywhere for that matter, that actually list a new radiator for this machine. So I figured, well, they must know what they're doing. So I reached out, and they were able to help us out with this project, and they sent us a nice new radiator. It's actually a better design because it's out of aluminum versus the old copper core radiators. So if you guys are looking for any sort of cooling system parts, condensers, radiators, transcoolers, whatever, they can probably make it if they don't already have it made. So you're looking for any of that stuff, reach out to your local dealer and ask for an ICEBOX. All right, well, let's get this thing pulled out. Let's get our crane into position here. It's nice having an overhead crane, I'll tell you that much. It's even got the Skylight outdoor model. Who needs a crane in the shop anyway? Alright, that should work. Let's go get her hooked up and let's double check that I got all the bolts out, because it's been about a month since I worked on this thing and I'm pretty sure I have it ready to just pull out. By the way, these things aren't called ICEBOX for no reason. This thing's cold. Like, you touch your hand to it and it's like, it's cold. I don't know, that's just me being dumb, but you get the point. This thing, very nice looking. Can't wait to get her in there and hopefully push some dirt. I don't know if we'll be pushing any dirt this video, but we'll definitely get her back running. Okay, got our chain hooked up and everything, as far as I can tell, is unhooked on this, so it's time to pull her up out of here again. I think this is the 4th time. Good news is this is the last time. Alright, somebody's got to work around here. You guys can't just be loafing all the time. Well, guess 750 is not the only thing trying to stay cool. Wow, Basil really can't be bothered. Wow. And we got the big old dozer over there. Weighs about as much. It's almost too pretty to put in this old dozer. Just look at the quality of that. That is nice. Goodbye, old leaky radiator. Alright, we got our rigging chain hooked up here. Got it through there. I wanted to use a 3/8 bolt like this is threaded for, but I want to fit through my little chain. Basically hooked up the same way. So you'll notice this is a one-piece fully welded radiator, where that one's a cap style with copper cores. But man, this is... I don't think this machine had a cooling problem before, obviously, the leaks and everything, but it's definitely not going to have a cooling problem now. Dang, it's already looking better. Well, we got her dropped in there. It's just a matter of bolting her all up. Well, there she is, all bolted in there. Took a little longer than I expected. A little bit harder to bolt this new one in than putting the old one in, but not a big deal. It's all good. Shroud's all hooked up. All we gotta do now is the upper radiator hose, put some water in it. Now, I don't know if I got all the junk out of this engine yet, so I don't want to flood this new engine with a whole bunch of junk. So we're just gonna put sock over the intake, and that should basically screen out any of the thick particles. And we're gonna run some water through it for now and get it real hot, make sure all that gunk and everything comes out of the engine, and make sure nothing gets in this brand new radiator. Because the way this works is it pulls coolant from the bottom and pushes out back into the top. So this is your pressurized, I guess you say, side. Just put the sock over there like that. It might be a little difficult to get this hose on, but we'll get her. I don't know, not a problem. But that'll kind of act as a screen there for us. Keep that trash from going into the new radiator. All right. Let's fill her up and hope she don't leak. It better not. I said we're just gonna fill this up with water, fire her up, and run around, get her nice and hot, and hopefully catch some more junk in there, and we'll dump it out. We'll put some antifreeze in there with it. So far, no leaks at the bottom, so that's a good sign. It's been about a month or so since I worked on this, because it took a couple weeks for the RSH to build this for us, and then another week or two to get it shipped out here, and yeah. So we got the radiator topped up, but the old radiator cap wouldn't work, so took one off my first gen Cummins, and that's the right size. We're gonna leave it loose for now. But it's time. Let's fire this old hog up. got? Coming out of the radiator, 184 degrees. Oh, 184 degrees. Going into the radiator, 156, 162. That's about a 15 to 20 degree difference. That radiator is doing its job. And we're in the green on the coolant temp. So, I think I'm going to call that fixed. Now we can shut that noisy thing down. Ew. Well, this problem hadn't fixed itself either. We got one heck of a leak coming out of this cylinder now. Oh, and the fact that we gotta do something with our tilt cylinder lines. But that's gonna be for next video. Almost forgot. I wanted to show you guys draining this radiator out and what this sock looks like. See how dirty this is. It's be a neat thing for the both of us to see. Not too bad. I mean, there's enough junk in there that I wouldn't want going through the radiator, but not too bad. Everything else is kind of silty, so yeah, that was successful. We'll wash that out. I think it's safe to say that we're good here. I wouldn't be too scared about running that stuff through there. All right, well that kind of fixes this problem, but we're far from finished working on this thing. But this video is getting kind of long, and it's been a little while since I put anything out for you guys, so I think we're gonna wrap it up here. And like I said, I want to say thank you to Radiator Supply House, ICEBOX radiators. This thing seems to be doing just fine. So catch you on the next one.